Hello, everyone, and welcome to Friends in High Vibrational Places, Season 2. My name is Christine Laria, and I am your host for this series, and it is my great pleasure to be able to bring you conversations with amazing beings of consciousness, leaders in the field of self-development, but also of transcendence of self, of navigating in this world with our presence and our ensoulment into our bodies all the way in. And this is our great pleasure to bring you these conversations that will open up new perspectives for you and get you looking at your life and living your life in ways that you have not yet experienced. It is like your personal divine messenger from spirit dropping in with the word that you need to hear when you need to hear it to most benefit you, your life, and the world. So I'm really happy to be here with you in this season, and I'm excited to introduce our first guest to you, a dear friend of mine and an amazing, amazing light leader, way shower, healer, and consciousness catalyst from Finland, Katri Levonen. Welcome, Katri.
Thank you, Christine. I'm soulfully happy to be here and to listen your amazing introduction at the beginning. I was like lit up when I was listening.
we, thank you. We do light up together, don't we? And so many of us do. There's this incredible, beautiful, I would really call it the enlightenment within us and on the planet of so many people coming into brighter and brighter and more embodied states of consciousness. And I know you and I will be talking about that today.
Yeah.
And we'll also be bringing in some really interesting aspects around relationship, primary partner relationship, sexuality, higher paradigms of intimacy, connection. What's going on there? What are we opening up into? It's so amazing the conversations we've been having. And I know that it is because relationship is so central for us as human beings, relationship
Mm.
with our families of origin, relationship with our friends, our communities, our partners, ourselves. We'll be diving into that really more awakened and embodied state of relationship with ourselves, the world, and in intimacy. And I can't wait to see where this conversation goes and takes us together.
Me too, absolutely. And there isn't anything else really than a relationship to something in our reality, whether it is a relationship to ourselves or for another or some other thing. Everything is relational. And everybody wants to be in a deep connection. So it is my passion, and it has always been my passion. I'm all about being in a deep connection with myself and with others. And it's so beautiful when we can be in that way, in an authentic and very vulnerable way. But it is also a path to be brave, because there's so many conditioning, and there's also so many hypnotic stuff that has been taught to us.
Yes.
And it's all about getting out of that hypnotic state and really finding the deep, authentic way of being, first with yourself, and then you can be that intimate with others.
You know, you share that's so
But
beautiful.
first, it's really a journey with yourself and within yourself, and clearing the toxins. It's yeah,
Yes.
toxins out of the body. Yeah.
That information. Yeah, you showed me the most amazing visual as you were speaking about relationship really being the foundational fabric of our existence, of our consciousness, like that there isn't anything that is ever separate. There's nothing separate from everything else. And so, like you were saying, that foundation is relationship. And then as you were speaking, I was looking at the way that that very foundation of being has been frayed or distorted or disconnected through those things that you mentioned, like conditioning, this
Mm.
programming, hypnotic things in our consciousness, in our experiences, a lot of it from our pain, a lot of it
Yeah,
from love being distorted at the foundational levels as humans. Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And then that's where the trauma comes from too. And
Yeah.
the separation. Yeah. It's a deep thing.
It is a deep thing. And you and I have been talking about a very different way. And I invite everybody listening to this to really tune in not only to our words, but to the energy that opens up as we have this conversation with each other and with you, because this is a very alive and dynamic conversation that actually will be able to offer you healing and shift and catalyzation because of the energy that's coming in through us with these words. So I invite you to listen that way as we speak about these things. And I know, Katri, you and I have been we've been speaking into new dimensions of consciousness opening up
Mm.
in the male female paradigm, or whatever your gender experience is, however you look at that, but in the fields of the polarities, let's say it that way. And what we know is that as we guide ourselves through, like Katri was saying, about relationship with ourselves and others in a much more, what would be the word there? It's really like a different dimensional space. It's a very specific experience in our bodies, in our conversations,
Mhm.
in the way that we
Mm.
connect with each other. It gets very specific in our human life. Yeah. This new
Yeah.
consciousness that's
Yeah, for
opening
me,
up. Mm.
yeah, for me, it's actually very natural and organic. It's something that we all have innate within us. It's like it is within us. And it's surprisingly close,
Mm.
but it's so far sometimes to find the way into the most intimate and closest parts of ourselves. Sometimes the distance seems really far.
Mm.
Like the way from head to the heart can feel huge, and it's only like here, and for some reason it's just eons sometimes. Yeah, so it's like it's really natural, but because of those layers and layers and layers of those hypnotic states, that's why it feels that it's such a long way to navigate through.
Yes. So, this thing that you're talking about, and I was looking at this just yesterday, the massive fortress of the mind and how it will do anything to keep you from really opening up into those most tender, vulnerable ways that actually can
Mm.
completely change your life. And I was looking at
Yeah,
this with somebody, and
yeah,
yeah, yeah, go ahead.
yeah. It's just so funny, isn't it? It's so amusing.
It's profound. It's like a person can be screaming for connection. This was an experience recently, like literally just crying out for connection,
Mm.
for relationship, for meaningful interaction. And then if an
Mm.
energy or an awareness or an opening or invitation comes to, like, oh, here's this over here, we can do this,
Yeah,
and the mind will come in and fight against it as a protection. So just feel into this, everybody.
totally.
Yeah, like what you really are
Totally.
wanting and what is organic and natural in you. And somehow our minds have learned to just come in like, sliding
Yeah,
big steel doors and go, thou shalt not pass into the open, blooming spaces of gorgeous connection in my heart. Why? Because it's painful. It'll be painful to open
yeah,
up sometimes. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. That's so interesting too. Like, why is it so painful? Like, why on earth? why on earth has it been created to be so painful? But when you are actually sitting with it
Mm,
and allowing yourself to penetrate those each sensations that can feel so solid, they are not so solid when you sit with them. They actually slowly, they start to turn into liquid, and then to the smoke, and then it's the air, and then poof, it's gone. But
yes.
it's just that resistance, like not wanting to sit with it.
Yeah.
But once you start sitting with it, then it's actually that when then the process takes over, and sometimes you need someone to be with you
Mhm,
who has already done it.
mhm.
Yeah, most likely and most often you need someone just to be there with you and witness that when those solid energies and grasping energies are dissolving from the body and from the mind and on the belief systems. And yeah.
It's of course, I remember, I mean, this is so good, this part of the conversation. I remember years ago and being with this really, he was one of my guides at the time, powerful energy worker, and we're in retreat and it's midnight because we would go till 3 or 4 a.m. And I really started freaking out just sitting there. Like I was having some experience that my mind
Mhm.
had no reference point for. And we know the mind wants to keep things safe through what's familiar. And so, I'm raising my hand like, hey, over here. And he just kind of looks over and goes, oh, yeah, yeah, the edges of your mind are beginning to dissolve, like that fortress, that container.
Yeah.
So then now it's, I don't know, 1 a.m. and we're having a break and eating cookies or something. And he kind of comes up to me like he's thinking I've made it like out of the cage. And he's thinking I've just gone ahead and dissolved. And so he comes up to me and he's like, it's really good out here, isn't it? Like meaning when you finally are in the freedom beyond that cage of the mind. But I
Yeah.
just looked at him and went, no, I'm completely freaking out, because I didn't have it yet in me. Like we're talking about, why is this so difficult? And I remember that experience so
Mm.
clearly of I'm afraid because I don't know what this is. And my mind's whole job has been let's stay with what we know. Even if it's prison, let's just stay with what we know because there will be safe. And so
Yes.
there is this leap that you're talking about, and it's so subtle and it's right there in front of us. And when it happens, you are in a new universe. It's
So
different. Yeah.
it's different.
Yeah.
And it's only to be experienced. Like it's sometimes it's even very difficult to transmit it through wording,
Yeah.
because when we speak into the words it's already conceptual, and people often create concepts, and this is nothing conceptual, it's actually beyond that. And you just need to feel the energy behind, like you, Christine, said, it's the energy behind, and you feel it with your heart and with your intuition. Like trust your intuition, because that will guide you and your heart will guide you. It's nothing to understand here, like nothing to understand.
Yeah. I'd love to open up into this piece that we've been looking at around how these very constructs that we're talking about
Mm.
and concepts, that's really what they are, constructs and concepts, play out in people in their intimate and physical and sexual
Yeah,
relation.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And that thing that we were talking about so interestingly, the fortress of the mind and how it keeps you not only from connection with others, but it keeps you so much. I feel this so deeply
Yeah.
in this context, how it keeps up people from relationship with themselves, really from with their
Mhm.
own sacred light and
Mhm.
presence. It keeps us bereft of our presence. And one of the things that we were talking about was the way that that is pornography in a nutshell, is that it sexually that keeps you distanced from connection. It keeps
Yeah.
you distanced from intimacy and from anything really landing in that very, very expansive, open, high dimensional energy in your body.
Mm. Mm.
And
Yes.
what's another route for people? What's another option in sexual intimacy? And what are we moving into really? What do you see? What are you seeing is different that you notice in your world? And how can you maybe open up into that energy for the people listening to this conversation to show them what it is you and I have been beginning and having
Mhm.
conversations about?
Yeah. Yeah, the sexual energy is one of the stickiest
Mhm.
energies in a way in our psychic and also in our consciousness that holds a lot of grasping energy, and it's almost like university of black belt,
Mhm.
you know, like there's so much to navigate through. And that's why we often see also some gurus and leaders who start to use that power over others through the sexual energy because they have not actually transformed their sexual energy, that they subconscious still has stuff there
Mhm.
and they are not even aware of it. So that's a very interesting thing too with this sexual energy, that it keeps you unconscious.
Oh, so interesting. And that word that you shared has feels so essential in how the way so much of humanity does the sexual intimacy, which is through grasping and
Yeah,
through craving, those two
yeah.
things. And if we would just feel those energies themselves, and within the context of consciousness, of that being very much an attachment, but also a
Mhm.
distortion. It's not just about a desire. I mean, I love desire. I find desire to be very, and I'm talking about desires of the heart or natural desires. There's an energy there that's like leading you, can be leading you into something that's beautiful. It's a responsive and interactive energy, and also can get so distorted into grasping and craving. Yeah.
And neediness. And
Yes.
all the yeah, neediness and all those they need to dissolve if you want to be free.
There it is in a nutshell. They need to dissolve. They just need to dissolve if you want to be free.
Yeah, yeah,
It's so true.
yeah,
Sometimes I get so tickled by deep truth, and it's so simple and so profound. Like, here's the entire universe for you. You just need it to dissolve if you
yeah.
want to be free.
Yeah, and sometimes you may do it like that. You just like to fuck with so many different people, and that's how you dissolve the energy. Like, there's no rules how you are dissolving it. And the most important thing is that you don't suppress anything, that you give expression to all those solid energies, and you are aware of it and allow them to move through your system. And there isn't any certain particular bath how to dissolve them.
Mhm.
I think it's very individual, and it really depends what the person has gone through in their
Yeah,
life.
right. And that's an interesting piece too, because obviously our primary relationships with parents bring so much information to all of our relationships with everyone, but especially those intimate ones. And it's interesting because what I've found is it's not sort of the degree of distortion that was in that initial, or love actually. It could be like really healthy, really good relationship with parents, or it can
Mhm.
be really, really, dysfunctional, unloving, or abusive. It's not really about which thing it has been, but it's about this. What we're talking about is your
Mhm.
awareness, your level of consciousness with those things, and awareness of what's playing through you and driving you
Yeah,
in your
absolutely.
sexual relationships. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And also going through those different archetypes
Hmm.
that we need to also dissolve and embody. And yeah, there's a lot. in our psyche that goes on, and when it comes to sexual energy.
Yeah, there's
And
so
there's
much.
so much, yeah. And then it's also something that people feel that when they make love, then they are in connection,
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? So it's also a way to search for connection. We know that that's how it's been for eons.
Mm-hmm. And there is a very palpable shift that happens when the level of, I would just say, hormonal impulse changes for people, through their adult lives, uh, where it's like can be just completely eclipsing in certain phases of life, where the procreative hormonal drive is just what's happening and it's making choices for you. And that is part of being human as well. And then there's also times
Yeah.
as that shifts where that balance, you feel it palpably. You're like, oh, it's not about that craving anymore. Even not even that. This other piece we're talking about is kind of more the heart and soul connection, and then there's also that physicality of it, and there's a lot of flux that happens with all of that. And what I'm interested in is this, in talking with you and in looking at and seeing what's there in possibilities, is a different energy that leads the sexual connection. And that's something that you and I have been talking about, when it's not the craving, when
Yeah.
it's not the grasping, when it's
Mm.
not the wounding, when
Yeah.
it's not
Trauma.
the trauma, the collective distortions, the conditioning, the program, all the things, when it's not that,
Yeah.
then what is that? Let's speak into
Yeah.
that a little bit.
Yeah. It's very deep relaxation for
Mm,
stuff. Like your body just feels so content all the time. And your nervous system is completely relaxed too.
yeah.
And you can be so present with every sensation, with every movement and not movement. And it doesn't matter what you do, you're just so present.
And I invite everybody to breathe that in, because that is a beautiful transmission of what is not only possible, but here for us as humans.
Mm,
Yeah. Mm,
yeah. And the sexual arousal is not then like a neediness, it's just presence.
mm.
And
Yeah.
it just feels very different.
Yeah. And it's not a taking or using or um, defining of self through
Mm,
what you're experiencing in the other. That's what I was looking at
yeah,
as you were talking. I'm like,
that's
oh,
right. Yeah,
it's
that's right.
not, it has, and most of us are still busy defining ourselves by how that relationship, how does that peer
Yeah.
person experience me? How do they feel about me? Or how do I feel about them,
Mm,
in terms of attraction, desire, arousal, all of those things. And then
mm,
that becomes entangled again in definition of self.
mm.
It is very sticky,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's very sticky.
So, like you said, it's the black belt.
Yeah.
University. It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
In which case we can all have so much gentleness for and compassion for ourselves, that we're navigating a master path. And of
Hmm.
course, in our conversation here, we're talking about sexuality as sort of this apex, this point of
Mm,
convergence and the crucible of all of that. And it's really about our whole path as humans and consciousness, and that brings all of that to the forefront. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And I love what you said about relaxation and
Hmm.
presence. And I feel like
Hmm.
that's gold,
Yeah.
Katri. And that's true for everything. And I notice for myself very, very keenly now, when my body and nervous system does not feel that level
Mm,
of total relaxation
yeah.
and presence. That's such a to me. And
Yeah.
personally, if that happens for me, and it still happens in my world and relationship and
Mm,
exploration, when those other energies get activated in me,
mm,
I don't like that, but I go straight toward it because I know that's where my next initiation in my black belt university is coming down the line. It's like, here you
Yeah.
go. Here's the exact plate of whatever you need for that next piece, for that deeper embodiment, because that's really
Yeah.
what it feels like when we're embodied, fully ensouled,
Yeah.
present. It's very
Yeah.
spacious. Yeah.
Yes. And also, even like the sexual organs, the muscles themselves, they become relaxed. They don't hold tension. And especially we as women, it's a big muscle, the vagina. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of tension there, and it needs to be released. And everybody has their way of doing that, the way that they prefer.
And recently, this image that's such a beautiful one here in Hawaii, where they
Mm,
speak of we have a bowl of life, and our
mm,
bowl gets filled with many things. And we,
mm,
many times and ongoing, we empty out our bowl and we let it be filled with light. And
mm.
I'm aware of the, the womb space, and for all of us, the pelvis and the pelvic
Yeah.
floor, and it's this bowl. And I'm aware of how much for all of us in life we hold in that bowl, and
Mm,
to allow that to become soft and relaxed and
mm.
spacious in whatever ways that, like you said, we all have our own path for that. It's a palpable sensation to have a feeling of open spaciousness through your pelvic bowl.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we can just be aware of, oh, and there's been so much, held and going on there through life. And yeah, it's what
Yeah.
happens here in bodies. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a thing to return your body back to its natural state,
Mm,
where the body tells you what it actually needs.
mm, yeah.
Mm. And then it's a beautiful flow. It's very spontaneous, very spontaneous. And your body does what it does naturally every day. And it's being a body. Body likes to be a body.
And it's
A
being
body likes to be next to a body.
exactly. It's so fun. It's to me, I think I shared this analogy with you because being so tuned in to that you're talking about, that body, that physicality, being also tuned into and talking with you, of course, this massive cosmic being, space of consciousness that we are. And so there's this
Yeah.
like powerhouse of
Yeah.
cosmic energy space being in this little flower, this little fragile flower. And it's like, well, be a flower then.
Yeah.
Be a body.
Yeah.
Be both. I mean, it's all at once, and it's like a joke. I mean, it's funny. It's
Yeah.
funny that we can be so infinitely powerful and creative, and also quite tender and fragile. Yeah,
We can be it all.
we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. And nothing at all.
And nothing else. That's so true. Oh, that's why I love talking with
Yeah.
you.
And
I
it's
do.
empty. Like the sexual energy is also empty.
There we
So you
go.
need to look into the emptiness of it and feel the emptiness of it.
Oh God, it's making my body so happy. Because all those words you just spoke, and there's such profound truth, and also a whole different paradigm of energy in that. Like that's a whole new thing.
It
And
is.
for most humans, yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
we have not lived it yet. Like
Yeah.
we are just in the brink of starting to live that, and people are beginning to find themselves and each others in this way. But we are just like opening the whale. Like it's just, yeah. Obviously, there has been timelines that people have lived that here on planet Earth too, and other planes. But this is the new way of
Yeah.
embodiment, what we are doing at the moment here on planet Earth, when
Yeah.
everything is also in chaos all around.
It is.
Yeah.
And thank you for mentioning that too. Both of those things. Like, in a way, this is not new and it's totally new at the same time. And it's good for our bodies to know that we actually already know this thing that we're talking about, but this time around, in this timeline, it's very brand new for
It's
us.
very brand new because our consciousness is very different how it used to be in the timeline of Egypt or Atlantis. It's very different.
Very
We
different.
can't even grasp. At the moment, we have no idea how it was then. We think that we know, but we have no idea because the consciousness was so different.
Yeah.
Now people are self-conscious, and that wasn't the case then.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
And
that
we
was,
can't return to that. We never can return what it was. But we can bring those soul pieces into this timeline, the
yes.
remembrance. But it's very different.
And that is what I'm looking at with, thank you, the other piece that you just spoke into so beautifully around the chaos that we're in now. And you and I have talked about this. And we don't see that slowing anytime soon at all.
No.
The opposite, there's an intensity building and will continue. And so this that we're speaking about, this black belt mastery, whether that's in the realm of our intimate sexual relationships or our tender self-love with ourselves, or the lens that we are looking out at the chaos in the planet,
Mm.
it's so beautiful and empowering. And I don't even like words like needed or essential or meaningful, but it is. It's actually in our core experience of how we navigate this timeline,
Yeah.
this part of the conversation of this relaxed, open, present embodiment
Yeah.
is is really your diamond center. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Totally.
very essential.
Totally. And then you just act in the world in the most aligned and profound way. It doesn't take away your action, the relaxation. It
Right.
actually makes you more active,
Yeah,
but it comes from different place.
yeah, different energy. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
different energy.
And it doesn't come from upset, and it doesn't come from feeling there's a mass wave really of because so many people are waking up to things that aren't benevolent or that are
Mm,
harmful or that are creating chaos. It's painful. I mean, there's that initial
mm,
state of feeling victimized by many things in the world,
yeah.
even for people whose consciousness has already in certain areas grown beyond victim awareness. It's
Mm,
getting cycled back down into that funnel for many because
yeah,
it's so chaotic and disruptive.
exactly.
And so this is another answer to that. And like you say, it doesn't preclude action. It leads to aligned, empowered, and very uh, grounded, peaceful being
Yeah,
in the action rather than upset and spin and yeah,
yeah.
all.
We need to grow up, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Like the awakening itself is not enough. We need to grow up and we need to cleanse and we need to then embody
Yeah,
the emptiness.
we do. And even that, and this is probably a topic for another conversation, but you and I also have looked at the way that many spiritual paradigms actually keep you from growing up. They keep you
Yeah.
disconnected up into that, into sort of a removed mental, almost like a removed mental exalted plane that actually keeps you from growing up in your cells, in your embodiment, in your shift of consciousness in your physicality. It's like porn. There's like spirituality that's like
Oh
porn that
yeah.
keeps you up there at that level, and you're not really actually.
Yeah. It's also like a mental hospital, another mental hospital
Yeah,
in in that way. And it's okay.
yeah,
Like it's okay. But and not everybody is here to free themselves totally and completely in this lifetime. So we have these different paradigms and different realities, and there's a huge choice for everyone, and everyone can pick up what they prefer. And everybody don't prefer what we are talking here. Like this is not
Absolutely.
like they might be like, what?
What the fuck? Really, like that. Who are these people? That's such a bunch
Yeah.
of crap.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. But you know if you know, and then it lands, and yeah.
Oh,
No,
I love it. And that, again, feel that. Everyone listening, I invite you to feel the spaciousness, the relaxation of not needing everyone to be on your page. It doesn't
yeah.
matter. It's not the
It doesn't
point.
matter. No,
No,
it's like really not the point. No.
really not the point to have everyone see it the way you see it. It's not the
Yeah.
point to have everyone
No.
be having your experience and your perspective. It's not the
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, because this has nothing to do with opinions.
Yes.
We don't care about opinions, you know.
You tickle me so deeply with your truth. Truth. If they're not bombs, they're like light flashes. We don't care about opinions. I'm like, there it is again. We don't
Yeah.
care. No, it's not about that. Thank you for all of
No.
that. It's
No.
so beautiful.
No, but we just in certain world we used to love giving opinions. I was in that world one day too.
Yeah.
Like so many opinions
Yeah.
and debating over things when I was in my 20s or so. In a university, always having my hand up and debating,
Thinking and analyzing and
thinking,
debating
analyzing.
and
Yeah.
positioning.
Yeah.
Oh my
And it's
goodness.
important phase. Like
Yeah.
you do need to go through those phases.
Yeah. It's growing
Mm.
up. It's all growing up. And
Yeah.
as I've often said, for most of us, we're not really meant to be doing calculus when we're 3 or 4 or 5, and what we're learning to do is tie our shoes. We're meant to be learning to tie our shoes, and how
Mm.
beautiful and perfect that expression of creation and life is, no matter what it is.
Mm.
It's not about, oh, now I'm further along or I'm better or
Yeah.
higher, or no, we're where we are. And that, feel the spaciousness of that. We're where we are, and that is perfect.
Yeah.
And here are a few more things, if they feel helpful, to look at or to feel into or to experience more deeply in your relationship with yourself or your body or other people. Here they are.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Katri, is there anything else you'd like to share in as we close our conversation today? Yeah.
Just trust. Trust yourself. Trust your intuition and trust your heart.
Hmm.
Trust the knowing that you have within, and keep tuning with yourself every day.
Hmm. Yeah.
Out of the box of thinking mind. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. I shared with someone, group of people the other day, let your knowing be your highest counsel in every moment, always.
Yeah.
So
Whatever it is.
whatever it is, whether it's your body, what it's saying
Yeah.
to you, whether it's somebody talking to you about the latest health thing of this is the good thing and this is the bad thing, or this is what's happening in the world, or this isn't what's happening in the world. Let
Yeah.
your knowing, like you said, tune into that
Yeah.
all the time, every moment, and let it
Hmm.
guide you as your
Yeah.
highest.
And bringing so much compassion and love towards yourself. Like if you want to eat a bar of chocolate or box of ice cream or whatever, like do it with love. Whatever you do it with love.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
even back in then to that, if you need to go, if you need to go have sex with lots of people as a way of how you're dissolving your system,
Yeah.
do that with love.
Exactly. Yeah. With
Do that
presence and consciousness. Yeah.
wherever, whatever it is you are and are doing and are being and feeling, to do that with love and be that with love.
Yeah.
Thank you. So
Mm.
good.
So good. Alchemy of love.
Mhm. Mm. Thank you so much for this enlightening, enlivening, and very nourishing and beautiful conversation today. I'm grateful for you and for all that you do. We'll be sharing your website and information here with this particular conversation where people can find you and the work that you do. And of course, everyone can know about the beautiful journey that we're leading together to Egypt this coming February. Yeah, for that deep remembering and ensoulment of those particular soul codes. So, yeah, thank you,
Mm.
Katri.
Thank you, Christine. I love you. I love you, everything that you are and you be. And thank you inviting me for this conversation. It's a huge topic and so many levels and layers. And I hope that this was helpful for everyone who's listening. And so much love to everyone.
Thank you. I love you too. Until the next time, thanks for
And
listening, everybody. Bye bye.
bye bye.